What's up, everybody? Welcome to Listography. Kramser and Joe here. Cheers. Good morning to you. This is Good Music America, and we have got some major topics of discussion because, the countdown begins. 6 days away is the most just exciting form of music appreciation and criticism you will ever find. It is the Grammy Awards coming to you next Sunday. So we're going to start off talking about them. I don't know about you, Joe, but the Grammys to me are just the best. They're so accurate and pure and just have the best taste, and they always pick the best winners and nominees. No matter what the years are. I know, thank you for Shannon in the comment section in one of the most recent videos for talking about how it goes from the November to October cycle from the year before. So we could have some stuff from 2019 here. Who cares, really? They can do whatever they want. They're so awesome at the Grammys, the worst award show ever. But let's go through what we think might win, what we might want to win. But what are your thoughts on the Grammys, first off, my friend?
I pretty much base all my musical opinions on the winners and nominees. I don't know anything about music. Obviously, the Grammys, these are the lights of the music industry choosing these records, and there's definitely nothing funny about who they pick. Definitely no payoffs, nothing like that. Just all about the music.
Definitely not funny. Like Jethro Tull famously winning Best Metal Album. That's the genre I always put them in. My favorite was a decade ago when Arcade Fire lost in the Rock Album of the Year category, but won Best Overall Album. So, how can you be not the best in your class, but best in the school? Who knows?
Yeah, it's pretty much the worst of all the major awards, I think. I think pretty much hands down, Emmys, Oscars, even the Golden Globes has more cachet, I think, at this point than the old Grammy Awards.
Yeah, without a doubt, the Grammys really rest on the shoulders of their television broadcast and the live performances. It's just a bit more of an upscale VMAs or MTV Awards, whatever. It's garbage, but let's talk about it. Would you say better or worse than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as far as, respect level you've got?
I guess it's at this point it's worse. I think maybe at a certain time the Rock Hall was so sort of like, it was only the people that Rolling Stone liked, and there's no women, there was no, black artists. It was just like straight, like that kind of lame, I don't know, rock. And no metal and nothing like that. So it was kind of a joke. But I think they've sort of expanded. People seem to like it less now because they're getting into rap and R&B and stuff like that. But I think that's a little bit better than the Grammys. It just, it's the same old million sellers. The Beyoncés, the U2s get nominated every year, no matter what they do. So I just don't know a single person who cares about the Grammys, who wins them, who's nominated. They'll watch it just for the performances, maybe. But, I can't even remember the last time I actually watched the whole awards show.
No, and you were saying compared to other awards ceremonies, like whether or not you always like the picks of like the Oscars, usually they're pretty much in line with individual like serious critiques lists, like LA Times, stuff like that, stuff that was nominated in foreign countries. This is just one big shit pile of popularity contest and industry schmoozing. It's garbage, but let's fire off and go through some of these categories just for fun. No offense to anyone else out there, but we're going to exclude this long ass list of arbitrary stuff and categories we don't really know much about. Dance, electronic. Joe appreciates good R&B, but I don't think we know a lot of these artists. Contemporary, classical stuff. We're pretty much going to run through rock, pop, and the major stuff. So let's start with Best Pop Vocal Album. Got Changes by Justin Bieber, Chromatica by Lady Gaga, Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa, Fine Line by Harry Styles, and Folklore by Taylor Swift.
I actually think that's probably a pretty decent nominees list for pop vocal album. I like that they got Dua Lipa in there. Lady Gaga's like a lock for making these lists. Folklore, Taylor Swift, hate her or love her, she did something new, and the critics seem to love it. So I can't, I can't say anything negative about that. Harry Styles seems to be big these days. I don't know what Justin Bieber's doing on there, but I think as a whole, the Grammys probably gets popped the best because it's usually the big names, but they're usually the ones doing the bigger stuff. There's not a lot of pop artists kind of on the periphery. Usually the pop artists are pretty obvious. So I like that list. I assume Folklore by Taylor Swift is going to win this one, though.
I think the win's going to go to Harry Styles because I think Taylor Swift's going to clean up a lot of categories. So I think they're going to want to spread it out. He's been kind of topical in the news the past few months as a leader for, combating toxic masculinity. And I if you don't like Harry Styles, which I don't really, at least check out his band's cover of Sledgehammer on the Howard Stern show. It is amazing. All right, so you're going Taylor. I'm going Harry Styles. Best traditional pop vocal album. What the hell's the difference in what I just said in the other category? God knows. Well, we've got Blue Umbrella by Burt Bacharach and Daniel Tashian. True Love, A Celebration of Cole Porter by Harry Connick Jr. American Standard by James Taylor, which was not a good album at all. Unfollow the Rules by Rufus Wainwright. Big fan was Jason of that. And we've got Judy by Renee Zellweger. I think this one is going to Rufus Wainwright, actually. I think that's going to go to Rufus.
Riff is the only one I listened to, and I liked it, but I don't trust the Grammys to get that one right. So I'm going to say they go to Harry Connick Jr. because it seems like an artist the Grammys would love.
Best pop duo / group performance. Un Dia by J Balvin, Dua Lipa, Bad Bunny, and Taney. Intentions by Justin Bieber featuring Quavo. Dynamite by BTS, a group that is mega popular and we don't talk enough about on this channel. Rain on Me, Lady Gaga with Ariana Grande, and Exile, Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver, which I think is going to be the winner. It's going to be Taylor Swift's Night, collaboration with Bon Iver. Just enough popularity with that cool, art house kind of flavor to it. They love, like you said, that she's doing something different. So I think that's going to be a win for her.
I'm probably leaning that way. I don't think the Grammys are ready to celebrate K-pop yet, even though Dynamite is one of the most popular songs of all time from BTS. I could see maybe Rain on Me, Lady Gaga with Ariana Grande, but I think you're right. I think Exile is probably going to take this one.
Best pop solo performance, Yummy by Justin Bieber. That just doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. Say So by Doja Cat. Everything I Wanted, Billie Eilish. Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa. Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles. And Cardigan by Taylor Swift. What do you got?
That's a tough one. There's some heavy hitters in this category. I'd like to think Dua Lipa would win because Don't Start Now, probably my favorite pop song of the year. Tough though. It's tough to bet against Taylor Swift or Harry Styles. Both big songs. I think I got to go with Cardigan just because it's kind of beyond a song. She did that one commercial for like Geico or something where she's picking out what to wear and it's all cardigans. So I think there's just something with cardigans and Taylor Swift, and I think they'll just give it to Taylor on this one.
I'm gonna go Harry Styles, Watermelon Sugar, just based on how much I hear that song scrolling through Instagram. Best new artist. How new are some of these? That's up for debate. We've got Ingrid Andress, Phoebe Bridgers, Chica, Noah Cyrus, D-Smoke, Doja Cat, Catrianata, and Megan Thee Stallion, who I think will get the win.
I'm going to go with Phoebe Bridgers on this. I think she has enough sort of buzz about her, that SNL performance. She's kind of, I think she's worked her way into the mainstream enough that the Grammys are gonna want to give her the new artist. I think she's got the combination of critical acclaim and you know, performing on SNL is a big deal. So I think she's done enough to work her way into the limelight, and I think she'll take it.
I do think she has momentum, but I think they're going to award it to her elsewhere. Let's head over to the rock category. Best rock performance, we've got Shamika by Fiona Apple, Not by Big Thief, Phoebe Bridgers with Kyoto, The Steps by Haim, Stay High by Brittany Howard, and Daylight by Grace Potter. And obviously a theme here. A lot of the females are just kicking ass right now in the rock, indie rock department, and not just in the Grammys. That is probably something we'll talk about on the show, how there tends to be a dramatic shift with the female lead singer in the rock genre. But what do you got for this one?
I'm going to go with Kyoto from Phoebe Bridgers on this. Though I can see Fiona Apple taking it. She's a Grammy darling.
I am with you. I think Kyoto takes it. That was best rock performance. We're going to go to best rock song, which, what's the difference really? Kind of the same nominees in a big way. We've got Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers, Lost in Yesterday by Kevin Parker, also known as Tame Impala, Not, Adrienne Lenker from Big Thief, Shamika, Fiona Apple, and then we've also got Stay High, Brittany Howard. I'm gonna go. I think this one kind of goes more for like the writing, and I'm gonna go with Shamika by Fiona Apple.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think it comes down to Shamika and Kyoto again. I think that could be a epic clash throughout the rock and alternative sort of world. Fiona versus Phoebe.
Best rock album, we've got A Hero's Death by Fontaines DC, Kiwanuka by Michael Kiwanuka, Daylight by Grace Potter, Sound and Fury, Sturgill Simpson, and The New Abnormal by The Strokes. There is an alternative music category that we'll get into in a second that I don't really know what the big difference from the rock one is, but I think here, I don't know much of this, but I'm going to go Daylight, Grace Potter, just by what I've heard.
I think probably The Strokes have the best album. The Kiwanuka didn't come out in 2020, so it's not fresh in my head. I'm pretty sure that was 2019. Sound and Fury, I feel like came out in 2019. I'm pretty sure all of these albums came out in 2019 except The New Abnormal. So I'm going to go with The New Abnormal because it's really the only one I remember listening to at all.
Best alternative music album, we've got Fetch the Bolt Cutters by Fiona Apple, Hyperspace by Beck, Punisher, Phoebe Bridgers, I'm Ava Brittany Howard, The Slow Rush by Tame Impala. I think Fiona Apple takes this one. There's just too much praise around this album.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the highest rated albums ever on places like Metacritic, and I think not even the Grammys can ignore that one. So yeah, Fiona Apple's my pick for this one as well.
All right, and then the big three, we've got Song of the Year, Black Parade with 1,000 Writers by Beyonce, The Box with a bunch of writers by Roddy Ricch, Cardigan by Taylor Swift. We've also got If the World Was Ending, Julia Michaels and JP Sachs. I Can't Breathe by Her, H-E-R. Everything I Wanted, Billie Eilish. Don't Start Now, Dua Lipa, and Circles by Post Malone. And again, Dua Lipa, love having her on here. Her and Phoebe Bridgers and Fiona are really the only ones in the Grammys that I really liked from last year. All three of those in my top 10. So maybe I have more in common with the Grammys than I thought. But I'm gonna go with what you alluded to earlier. Actually, no, I'm gonna go Black Parade by Beyonce. I think Taylor Swift's gonna win the big one, but Beyonce is going to get the love here for Song of the Year.
You know, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to go Cardigan here. And I think Beyonce will get the record of the year, because that seems to be more about producers and overall kind of experience.
Album of the Year, Chilombo by Hene Aiko. Not really sure what that is. Black Pumas by Black Pumas. Everyday Life by Coldplay. Jesse Volume 3 by Jacob Collier. Women in Music Part 3 by High. I'm really surprised that's on there. Folklore by Taylor Swift. Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone, and Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa. I do think Folklore takes Album of the Year for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be a runaway winner, although I would pick out of these nominations Dua Lipa, but
oh yeah,
you can't deny Folklore's sort of impact.
None of mine or your or Jason's top album of 2020 is anywhere here. What a shame. All right, and Record of the Year, Black Parade by Beyonce, Colors by Black Pumas, Rockstar with DaBaby featuring Roddy Ricch, Say So by Doja Cat, Everything I Wanted, Billie Eilish, Don't Start Now by Dua Lipa, Circles, Post Malone, and Savage by Megan Thee Stallion featuring Beyonce. I think, yeah, this is going to Beyonce with Black Parade, like you said.
Yep.
So really, Taylor Swift and Beyonce, kind of the big winners. There's too many categories for me to really make sense out of. Oh, obviously, like Album of the Year seems most important to me. And then there's Song of the Year and Record of the Year, which I don't really understand the big difference between those. It seems really nitpicky. That'd be like the Oscars giving an award for cinematography and lighting separately. It's like, well, I don't understand. You can't really have one without the other. But yeah, I don't plan on watching them, but I thought it'd be fun to go through so we can at least keep up to date. Yeah, I haven't even really heard much of this stuff. I've heard a lot of the big hits by like Billie Eilish and Megan Thee Stallion and all that stuff. But this week, and starting tomorrow, obviously, is Billy Joel week, which you are ear to ear about. Me, not so much. But I only got one new release down this week. I listened to Billy Joel a lot, obviously. But we wanted to talk briefly about, and please in the comments, get this conversation rolling. What are your like behavioral listening habits like? Like, is it always sitting down and focusing on the album? Are you doing chores? Are you traveling? What's the deal? Tell us about how you go about it, Joe, and then I will as well.
Well, my music listening habits basically begin as soon as I'm in the car, driving to work, got something on. Usually, it's tough because I think there's a big different experience between listening to something in a car, listening to something in your house, and listening to something on headphones. So I try to listen to things if I'm going to review it or do a listography at least once in the car and with headphones, because like I'll miss a whole bunch of stuff. But basically, as soon as I wake up, I'm listening to music. When I go to work, half the day I'm probably listening to an album, or either for our listography or for albums of the year, or a new artist. Basically, at this point in my life, I don't listen to things that I want to listen to. I listen to things for this channel all the time. So really putting in the work for you people. But yeah, I mean, I can listen to work at work. So I'm kind of lucky in that way. I do a lot of creative stuff. I'm pretty much left alone. So I listen while I design and do my daily stuff.
Yeah, even before the channel, and I'm right there with you. I don't listen to much personal, just leisurely stuff. When I do, it's usually like random songs put together, kind of just fitting my mood, or songs that I like to sing. I've got some go-to ones that really help like clear my voice when I want to like play my own guitar. throw on a little Running on Empty by Jackson Brown, or some Elton John, things I can sing well in my register. But yeah, the majority is going through album of the year and our artist, and new stuff. Like to try to get 1, 2, 3, 4 listens a week, and that adds up over the year. But a lot of people are usually surprised by how much music. They're like, how do you listen to so much music? It's like, it's actually not that hard when you really think about it. Like you said, especially with me, my commute to and from downtown Chicago for work is usually like 45 to 50 minutes, which basically is an album each way. So that's always a perfect opportunity. I don't drive, but I usually throw something on in my speaker system in my bathroom when I shower. But for my serious listening, I'm all about headphones. And unless the weather is pretty brutal, a lot of times I will go just on a walk and listen to it. I do have some new speakers in my living room area here with a nice new subwoofer and soundbar. I don't have a turntable right now, which really sucks. That was from an old relationship that I didn't get to take with me. But yeah, for the most part, like this week, it was pretty much Billy Joel, brushing up on some album of the year reviews, and yeah, getting in one new listen. So I don't think it's really that hard, especially like if you're someone that I think a lot of people are who just casually throw on Netflix and kill an hour watching something. I don't really do that as much anymore unless I'm like falling asleep. I might put something on. So I think there's plenty of time in the week to get a couple new listens in. And, for our listographies, if it's stuff we know really well, you don't really have to go in a deep dive. This week was hell for me because I don't really know any Billy Joel album start to finish, except maybe The Piano Man a little bit. So it was an intense crash course on Billy Joel. But we'll get into that tomorrow. Let's talk about some new stuff. You got Kings of Leon with a little bit of a caveat, correct?
Yeah. Okay. So there's this new big thing that is kind of storming the consciousness of the internet right now. And I think pretty much I only found out about it a couple months ago, and I can't believe how big it's gotten. It's called NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And basically it's based off like the blockchain. It's limited edition digital like things. So digital art, digital recordings. There's one called NBA Top Shot, which is digital highlights. So they're packaging like digital highlights of a dunk or a 3-point shot, selling them to people, and it's just blowing up. Like they're making hundreds of millions of dollars selling digital highlights that are tied to the blockchain so that they can't be replicated. And it's blowing up right now. So everybody's getting in the NFTs. Grimes just sold some digital art for like $5 million. And Kings of Leon are going to become the first artist to release an album as an NFT. So it's basically like getting a limited edition hard copy, but as a digital asset. So this will be like one of 500 or something. You'll get like a little signed certificate that says, Kings of Leon, 1 of 500. So you have the first in the serial number, and it's probably going to be worth a lot of money someday. It's like collecting fine art or cars or something like that. So they're sort of, I think they finally figured out a way to replicate the experience of having something, tangible, limited edition. They only make 500, say, because I'm out, that's all you get. This is the same concept, but in the digital space. So there's only 500 of these. They can't be replicated. Once they're gone, they're gone. So if you get one, you now know that, it's not like owning a downloaded copy from iTunes or something that a billion people can have. This is a real thing that only 500 people are having. They throw in some other stuff to make it more worthwhile and whatever. It's a tough concept to get your head around because it's like it's still digital. Like this is not a real thing I can have, but they're making you believe, and I guess it's tied to the blockchain, so it can't be like taken away. you can't like lose a copy if iTunes decides to like pull an album or something like that, or if you download stuff off Netflix. It's not like that. It's a real thing. You're in possession forever. So it's weird. It could be good for the music industry because it could make music worth something again. You know, people's livelihoods are sort of been killed because streaming and stealing stuff off the internet. But this kind of gives artists a chance to have something that they can sell to people that's worth more than just, you know, 99-cent stream, download, whatever.
So you think it's going to be a major trend that catches on?
I do. From what I've seen in the NBA, this NBA Top Shot thing, I mean, people are falling over themselves to get in. All the NBA players are down with it. They're on Twitter talking about it. They're talking about it on TNT during the broadcasts. They've already sold hundreds of millions of dollars of these just highlights, but you know, they're worth something. You go to the marketplace, people are selling like a highlight of a LeBron dunk. There's, you know, maxed out, I think 1,000 or something of them. You can sell it for like $20,000, $30,000. And these are just little, like a clip of LeBron James dunking. But because it's rare, because it has value attached to it, people are just going crazy for this stuff. I tried to get, like you buy packs and like you open it up. So it's like a whole experience of doing it. I tried to buy one. You can't even buy one. Like there's so much demand for it. You can't even get a pack of these things that you don't even know what's in it. It could be completely useless and non-valuable, but people are just all over themselves trying to buy it. So I think this NFT thing could be big for a lot of creatives, music, art, books, whatever.
So it's just like a big like collector's circle. So are you saying like if LeBron dunks in this game, if you didn't watch the game live, you'll never see this dunk again unless you get this package?
No. I mean, that's the whole thing. You can just go to YouTube and watch the same dunk a million times. But the fact that it has rarity now, like it's like getting a gold bar or something, but on the gold bar is etched like LeBron James dunk, you know, 3 of 100. I mean, that's the whole thing about the internet. Like it took away rarity. It took away that aspect of finite objects. Now that it's tied to the blockchain and can't be replicated, like you could go on and pretend like, oh, this is a LeBron James dunk, but unless it's tied to this blockchain, it has no value. But now that it's tied to the blockchain, can't be replicated, it's like your dunk that you can do whatever you want. It's like a trading card, basically, which that's a whole cottage industry as well. So this is just sort of like a new thing, like trading cards. People are going to collect them, and you can trade them and sell them and all this other stuff. And now that it has rarity, it's worth something. So I don't know if it's just going to be people trying to like make a bunch of money real quick and then it'll fade, but it seems like something that's going to catch on.
Well, as far as the worth of this new Kings of Leon album, what is it? How is it as an album? You listen to it? I've not gotten around to it. I do like Kings of Leon quite a bit, so I'll get to it in a few days. But what are your thoughts?
I liked it more than I thought I would. I didn't love Walls or Mechanical Bulls or Come Around Sundown or whatever it is. So it's been a while since I really liked a Kings of Leon album, but this one seems like it's a little like less consciously trying for mainstream. It's pretty mellow, more synths on this one. And I thought it was a pretty good listen. It's 3.5 to 4, probably 3.5. I might give it 4 on another listen or two, but I was surprised at how much I liked it.
What else you got this week?
Well, I also have an album I think you and Jason will like a lot. It's big in the indie scene. I know Pitchfork gave it a strong, or no, not Pitchfork, Rolling Stone gave it a really strong review, 4 stars. Driver by Adult Mom. And it's kind of in the Phoebe Bridgers sort of indie pop, sort of, emphasis on the songwriting and the storytelling. and it's sort of a concept album about growing up. And I liked it. I was surprised at how much I liked it. I think the lyrics are surprisingly good, and I don't really listen to lyrics that much, but I noticed a lot. Clever, sort of hitting my memory of growing up pretty well. So I gave it a 4-star review on this.
And a potential double headline with Soccer Mom and Adult Mom.
Yes.
Do that. You got anything else this week?
I listened to the new Alice Cooper. It was okay. I give it 3 stars, but it just, he said everything I think he has to say. And at this point, it's sort of just rehashes and, you're not going to hear anything new or, cutting edge or that interesting. It's just sort of Alice Cooper going through the motions. 3 stars because I like Alice Cooper, but nothing above that. And then I finally also listened to the new Nick Cave and Warren Ellis with their album Carnage. And I've always had a tough time getting into Nick Cave because of his voice and sort of, I don't know, it just doesn't grip me. I always found him a little off-putting. But I like this one, 3.5 stars. I didn't dislike his voice on this. It didn't sort of grate at me at all. It's still, there's these real harsh songs that he writes with a lot of like language and like I don't know, it just kind of makes me uncomfortable listening to some of his songs sometimes. He's good at that. He's very good at what he does. It's just not my style usually. But I give it 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I'm surprised you gave it that much, but good to hear. The only one I got around to, and I usually get more than one a week, but Billy Joel just kicked my ass this week, was the Alice Cooper Detroit Stories. I did not like this at all. I'm going to go 2 stars out of 5. Yeah, it's pretty bland. I also don't like the way it sounds. The mix is really bright, really perky, but they're doing kind of old school rock. It is kind of fun and humorous at times. There are some songs I like Social Debris and I Hate You, but overall, this is just far too long and uneventful and kind of whiny too. I mean, a lot of it is tongue in cheek whiny, but I don't know. It didn't have much to say that you can't find on a boomer message board somewhere on the internet. So, not that I appreciate the godfathers of rock and roll and I like Alice Cooper a lot, but this is one I will never listen to again. So 2 stars out of 5. And I think it's safe to say as we close the polls that Joe, poor guy. My pick following Billy Joel was between Sonic Youth or The Replacements. I couldn't decide. So I thought, let's let democracy rule and our fans get the vote out. And by a pretty solid margin, not a blowout by any means, Sonic Youth has beaten The Replacements. So following Billy Joel, we will get Sonic Youth. So that's in 7 or 8 days, depending on when you're watching this, what time zone you're in. Get started on that. Tomorrow we've got, I'll just be happy tomorrow is Billy Joel ranking all the albums. Then on Wednesday, as always, we've got the top 10 favorite songs by Billy Joel. Fun side 3 of Billy Joel inspiration on Thursday. And then albums of the year 2007 on Friday. So let us know what you guys thought of the little niche out of time resequencer video. If you like those kind of videos, we'd love to do more of them. Any closing thoughts on the week, my friend? Other than you're dreading Sonic Youth, you're probably gonna have to.
I'm really unhappy with the whole community for voting in Sonic Youth. I listened to some of their albums. I tried when we were back in the '80s doing some of the albums of the year. I listened to their first one and not great. Not looking forward to exploring more of their catalog. I really hate them. I'm just going to go out and say it. They're maybe my least favorite band of all time. So I'm really excited for this week.
I would hold your tongue because I think you'll at least be able to tolerate some of the later stuff when it just becomes, you'll probably just think it's boring by that time, but you probably might not make your ears bleed when you get to like Murray and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm excited, obviously. So yeah, thanks everybody for checking in. I hope you guys have a good week. Stay tuned again for all of our programming coming up this week. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out our social media presence in the description below with Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And start getting your NFT collectibles, I suppose. And don't forget to watch the Grammys so we can bash the hell out of it next week. On behalf of Joe and myself and Jason, who is not here and we miss him, we will see you guys tomorrow for Billy Joel. Take care.